Rollback pandemonium. Balancing fixes coming. And what's next for ARK Survival Evolved? You're right, kids, it's Ras Clark and welcome to your regular ARK community news. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, share around, and let's get into it. So the community crunch dropped last night, not revealing too much at all, but it did drop very, very late. Why? Well, something happened across Steam, EGS and Stadia servers. A patch dropped which finally improved the hexagon rewards for Genesis Part 1, of course them being nerfed heavily when Genesis Part 2 dropped, but it had a big adverse effect. In doing so, it created pandemonium, apparently affecting void worms, plant R, megachelons, and other things were crashing, breaking, the world was going to bits. Fortunately for you, Wildcard picked up on this straight away and certainly reacted as quick as they could, but the damage was already done. There had to be something implemented to resolve all of the issues this created. So of course Steam, EGS and Stadia users had to have their progress reverted, reset, rolled back to a time before this patch. Not too big of a deal, I guess, as this was turned around within about 2 hours, but I imagine with rollbacks these do affect players. If you was transferring, you may have lost your players. This happens with rollbacks, sadly. I've seen it time and time again, and unfortunately you may have been one of those out there. Console players, you got lucky. This was all done and resolved before the patch dropped to Xbox and PlayStation, so you don't need to worry about logging into something that's not there anymore. It's all now resolved now, and I'm sure it must feel frustrating for this process to have happened, especially on a Friday night when everybody wants to play a bit of ARK. But these things sadly happen. The devs have addressed in the past that when pushing out a patch to thousands and thousands of servers, there's certain elements that they can't test prior to the patch dropping. Certainly frustrating for both everybody involved, but at least the devs reacted quick enough and at least it didn't affect console users. Why have you now got hexagon rewards increased? Well, of course, transfers are open. They've been open for just over a week now across official servers, and I'm interested to hear how you're finding it. I know there was a lot of concerns with no caves to build in on Gen 2 and defending those bases. How are you finding it? I know there's a few other issues out there exploit wise that the devs had to compete with at the same time, but how are you finding it? Being certainly more tech adopted on Genesis Part 2. How are you finding defending against content from other maps? Comment below, let me know. So you've got an Evo event until Monday the 13th with a bit of 2x taming, breeding, harvesting, XP and hexagon bonus to enjoy until then. Get your 2x going on. And sadly, apart from a few community submissions, there wasn't really much to go on, although the devs did address something, that there are quite a few things coming before the end of the year, and I'm going to quickly run them down, summarise what we know is definitely coming our way. So the big one first, Lost Island is coming to all platforms in the near future, apart from of course Switch, let's not talk about that, and mobile, and we don't know when yet. There is no date being given, but we are all hotly anticipating this one, as it's certainly looking like a return to the ARK we know, the ARK of old that we know, like the island. This truly does feel more akin to the island than any other map that's ever been released. Now there's a modded version out there that you can play, and I've got a video out there if you want to see that for yourself, but it is certainly a very different version to what it's going to be. This is a very old, partly developed modded version of this map, so it's not a great depiction, but it's certainly worth checking out to get at least a feel for what's to come. Of course, now the 3 Dino finalists that are going to drop with Lost Island have all been revealed details, and we know now what to expect. And what's great about all of them, they seem to be quite anti-tech. The Armagosaurus, for instance, has the ability to penetrate, pierce good armor, i.e. flak and tech, encouraging you to wear hide and ghillie, which I'm certainly fascinated about if it's going to be that much of a pressure point to make sure you're not wearing tech. Additionally, it's gone on record that this thing is going to break saddles in some degree. We're not quite sure how that's going to play out, but the wording was use break saddles. So most of you out there, including myself, do believe this is just going to bypass saddle armor. But What if it did have the ability to fully break saddles? That's incredible. And if you want to hear more about that, I'll leave a link in the description on where I went into a lot of detail about it. You've got the Dinopithecus with its unique ability of throwing poop grenades, apparently tech disabling poop grenades, which I'm very interested to see. And this is probably my favourite of the three, ironically crushing a dude in tech gear, and I'm looking forward to seeing how these grenades are really going to work. And then of course quite recently the Cinemacrops, which is going to be a glider / parachute for you to fly around without needing any of those. So the Arky is no more. This is going to be your new thing you're certainly going to want to carry around at all times, being able to fly around, well, glide around. And apparently he's going to have a shriek ability that's going to stun lock things in place, with a lot of you suspecting this is going to be the anti-Noglin. Of course the Noglin being quite a powerful thing, at least on PvP servers now. This could be the one creature that's able to compete with Noglins. We'll have to wait and see until we get some more details. We've also got the extra live stream, which usually happens around the end of October, beginning of November, where the devs will raise a lot of money for a great cause, and it's certainly worth getting involved, whereby they will do a 24-hour stream. And every one of these they've done, they've revealed a lot of up and coming stuff for ARK. Last year it was all about Genesis Part 2, and they did give us a bucket load of information, and I'm really interested to see what they're going to do this year. My bets are on ARK 2 and the animated TV series. I think it's going to be too close to The Lost Island, but we'll see. Lost Island, of course, is a mod map, and they've never covered a mod map in one of these extra live streams before. So I'm inclined to think this is going to be all about ARK 2, and I will be definitely getting involved myself, raising money for charity. And I'm frightened to think what I'm going to do, because last year's was just horrible. I'm not doing that again. I'm not eating garlic and onions. It absolutely ripped me off. I'm going to do something else that, yeah, is punishing me, but certainly not at that level. And if you've got any suggestions, comment below, let me know what you think. Then we've got a few themed events up and coming. Of course, Fear Evolved, it's already been confirmed. This is definitely happening at some point during Halloween, of course, and it's certainly my most favourite event of the year, as it just introduces a lot of different variants out there. The ghost skins especially last year were great to see, but the Dodo Rex, the Dodo Wyvern, the cosmetics, the theme, I do certainly definitely enjoy this one, and I hope we get a trailer this time. We didn't get one last year, so come on devs, let's do it. Let's get a trailer going on, sort it out. Oh, and one last thing, a big thing about this is you will be able to tame zombie wyverns once again, this being the only time you can do it. So make sure you capitalize on this opportunity, because this is the only chance you get to do it. Then you've got the turkey trials that comes out straight after it, where you've got serious overpowered turkeys instead of dodos, which really do hurt, in order to tame yourself a Dodo Rex, which are super strong things in the game. Oh yes, you're gonna want one without a doubt. And then a wonderful snowy return to Winter Wonderland, where everything Christmas comes along once again, greeted by, of course, raptor claws flying by, dropping presents, ho-ho-hoing, and gacha claws, of course, exchanging presents with you as well as a bunch of new cosmetics and emotes. It's a fun time to enjoy the festive period. And hopefully we'll see another New Year's event. We got one last year for the first time in a long time, but it wasn't quite the New Year's I wanted, whereby there was an actual New Year's ball dropping down from the sky that then exploded on New Year's Day. Certainly a great thing to witness, which I never got to experience myself at the one time they did this, but don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful that they did a New Year's event of sorts last year, but just bring the ball in. The ball just makes it so much more cooler with having some live event going on, falling from the sky. Then there's going to be another dino voting round, but the devs have said this isn't going to be for Lost Island, which means it's going to be for the next mod map. That's right, there's going to be another mod map next year. It has to be. Or it might not be. It might just be a dino that they want in ARK that just drops as and when it does. Because I imagine if we are going to get this second mod map, which they have hinted at before, it's not going to be too soon after Lost Island. It's going to be quite a while away. And then you've got TLC. Said the community manager has gone on record to say they are definitely going to look at TLC for some creatures over this year. And we're getting late into the year now, so I'm hoping we're going to see something very soon. And I've got a top 10 list that you voted on what we want TLC'd in the game, especially this one. Spiders crawl on walls, don't they? But they don't in ARK, so come on, do it. But any Dino TLC is certainly going to be gratefully received, and I look forward to hearing more about this. So last but not least, balancing changes are coming. The devs are certainly going to address what's perhaps a bit too OP and what's not, to make sure the meta is as good as it can be. And shout out to Mr. Dolphin, who did a video on a series of things he believes that needs to be addressed, and I'll leave a link to this video in the description, which certainly goes through everything I think a lot of you want to see changed. But we're going to hear something soon. Hopefully over the next few weeks, the devs are going to address what they're going to balance. They might even coincide it with TLC. Why not? Great opportunity. You're bringing in new TLC for some dinos. You're taking away some things from other dinos. Let's do it. And that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, comment below, let me know. My name is Ras Clark. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And as always, peace out.